City leaders spent hours debating an already approved plan to bring more paid parking to the center of the city. Kamala Harris right now with 46% of the vote. But we all know it's not the popular vote that wins the election. It's the 270 electoral college votes that are needed to take the White House. A competition unlike anything else. 700 backhoe operators in Wichita today showing off their skills.
Yeah, Jeff, we did just hear from the Butler County Sheriff's Office about an hour ago, and they tell me they are not involved in today's investigation. However, they said they are aware of it, and they also requested that if anything was found on this property that they be notified because it is their jurisdiction.
You have mentioned that Boeing needs to earn back the trust in Wichita. To you, what does that look like for Boeing to earn back that trust? In just over a month, Wichita voters are deciding on a $450 million bond.
Heartbreak has a look, and I saw it today. The whole community is heartbroken, and they're feeling that. They want us to continue to talk about Jillian and Veronica and share their story. They don't want to go on camera out of respect for the family and for the investigation, but they want those answers. They're patiently waiting. They're holding out hope. They're praying, but they are aware of what every passing day means without Jillian and Veronica home.
Here it is. This is the new Kansas license plate. Governor Lori Kelly says this is the one, the Capitol Dome, that received more than half of the votes cast last week.
They said that Paul Grice was trying to save his own skin. He replied by saying, "My skin is not worth saving." I'll have more from Paul Grice's emotional testimony and what he describes as brainwashing coming up tonight on KSN News at 6.
One of the men charged with killing two Southwest Kansas mothers wants the judge off his case. A bill is headed to the governor's desk that could bring big changes to emergency medical services in rural Kansas. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Julia Thatcher. Jeff Herndon has the evening off. In just over a month, Wichita voters are deciding on a $450 million bond to improve and build new schools. It comes as there is a new organized effort against the bond. KSN Zena Taher is live from the board meeting at North High, where they are starting to make decisions about the bond before the public vote. Zena? We have an update on the investigation into the child's remains found in a Rose Hill backyard in September. The Rose Hill police chief tells KSN they are nearing the end of their investigation and hope to turn over their findings to the county attorney within about a month. The city of Salina says snow and ice removal efforts are continuing through the week as needed. The January 5th snowstorm dropped 12 inches of snow on the city. Crews spent the weekend working to clear residential streets and plan to transition to the downtown area on Wednesday. As Sedgwick County and other local agencies recover from last week's double snow, how are the resources holding up with winter only halfway over? Look for that report coming up tonight on KSN News at 10. From our Kansas Capitol Bureau, state lawmakers kick off the new legislative session at the State House in Topeka. Republican leadership say their top priority is property taxes. They picked up 3 additional seats in the House and 2 in the Senate, and this gives them enough numbers to pass bills and override a veto from Governor Kelly strictly on party lines without Democratic support. The governor asked lawmakers to not push through more tax cuts this year so they can see how last year's cuts affected the budget. Democratic leaders say their top priority is Medicaid expansion. The Kansas Board of Education set to hold a public hearing next month on a push to eliminate applying for federal student aid as a new graduation requirement for high school seniors. The board voted last May to make completing a FAFSA form or signing a waiver to avoid it one of the requirements for graduation. The hearing is set for Tuesday, February 11th. The federal government files a lawsuit against a Wichita gentlemen's club. The U.S. Department of Labor is suing Pleasures and its operating company over wage violations. The lawsuit seeks back wages and an equal amount of liquidated damages for 80 dancers. A Wichita man sentenced to nearly 25 years in prison for his role in the murder of a homeless man. Abel Molina is convicted of second-degree murder for the February 2022 beating death of Blake Barnes and possession of meth. A second man, David Chandler, is already serving over 17 years for the attack. Police arrest 3 suspects after a home robbery in West Wichita early Sunday turned into a standoff. It started with a break-in at a home near Lincoln and Hydraulic. Investigators say electronics and handguns stolen were traced to a home near 13th and 119th Street West. Police surrounded the home and eventually took 3 people into custody. However, they are still searching for 2 more suspects. A north central Kansas man died in a crash in Mitchell County this morning. The Highway Patrol said Travis Cady of Jewel died when a pickup hit his car. That pickup crossed the center line on K-14 north of Beloit. The driver of the pickup taken to the hospital with serious injuries. In Southern California, the death toll from the Los Angeles wildfires is up to at least 24. Additional firefighters and equipment are working to contain the fire as another round of powerful winds are threatening to undo progress. The county's fire chief warns everyone in the potential fire zones should be ready to evacuate. Red Cross volunteers from our area are in LA, helping evacuees and survivors of the fires. 5 are from Kansas, 2 from Oklahoma. Their main tasks are sheltering and feeding people who need it. She says once it is safer, volunteers will go out and do damage assessment. That involves taking pictures so fire survivors can have estimates for their insurance claims. To support their work and donate to the Red Cross, head to KSN.com. You can look for the banner on the front page. An opportunity for Kansans to help LA wildfire survivors. Cotton Holdings is collecting clothing and shoes to send to people impacted by the fires in Southern California. It is accepting new or gently used items to advance catastrophe technologies on North Hoover Road between 9 and 5 until Wednesday. The Damn Jam Music Festival is on the move once again this summer. It will draw crowds to its 3rd location in 3 years. Coming up next, we'll tell you where that is and when the festival starts. And the Chiefs, they are getting ready for the playoff challenge with Houston. Why the Texans head coach is comparing Patrick Mahomes to an NBA point guard. Several people I talked to say that all of the unanswered questions makes it more difficult searching for Jillian and Veronica and processing what has happened. Everyone who I spoke to in Hugoton also said that they are in disbelief this is happening here. With every passing minute,
there's no doubt that everybody in town is concerned.
Pain grows from the unknown.
I see those yellow bows and think, well, maybe today, maybe we'll know today.
Debbie Nordling knows Veronica and Jillian. She is still trying to wrap her head around their disappearance.
I understand when one person might be in trouble, but to me it makes no sense when 2 of them were together. And these were very intelligent ladies.
Trying to hold on to hope through the heartache.
And we want to know that they're okay and they're going to come back, but as the days roll by, it's just getting harder and harder to stay positive and keep the faith, and it's just hard.
The splashes of yellow,
houses and businesses and mailboxes,
are a symbol of support the community is giving to the families and each other.
So many people would come in and maybe buy one bow to take home, or maybe they would buy 3 or 4, but the donations were so wonderful.
They're not forgotten, and that's the most important thing. No matter what people can do, is just don't forget.
A town determined to never stop searching for answers, even as their new reality sets in.
You just realize that there's an awful lot in life you can't fix.
Donations from the Bows has now reached over $2,000. That money will be split between Jillian and Veronica's families. I spoke to the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation. They said they couldn't do an on-camera interview today, and every question that I emailed them, they said they couldn't answer. It was still part of their investigation. Here for you, Julia Thatcher, KSN News 3. A father's love.
She's just beautiful.
Matched with an equal amount of misery.
I just can't understand. It's just so heavy for me.
Don and Marquis Kinney live with the unknown of what happened to their 16-year-old daughter, Cindy.
We've been 50 years thinking every time somebody had something, well, I hope the sheriff does, but I hope he has good intentions.
Hope brought with each new lead.
Well, here we go again.
Followed by a crash of disappointment.
It's going to be a rough go. Now, if it's really legitimate, we've had at least 8 or 10.
A cycle of sadness also felt by friends who had followed this case for decades.
And there for the longest time, they came up with one wild goose chase after another, but they couldn't not pursue it either.
Charmaine Kendrick says each search serves as evidence for how much people love Cindy.
My brother, who was a very dear friend of hers, and a lot of others that were out walking in the woods, you know how they do fingertip to fingertip, walking and kicking leaves and rocks and, you know, all this stuff for weeks on end.
47 years later, every dead-end lead still permeates pain through Pawhuska.
It still happens everywhere, but this isn't everywhere. This isn't everywhere. It shouldn't have happened.
There's a conscious effort to keep the sorrow from dimming Cindy's light.
It seemed like everybody just loved her to pieces. She was good, she was kind, she was artistic.
Eventually she started dating, and then I had to keep my eye on her, you know. And so,
like a good dad.
yeah, it was pretty tough too.
Dawn and Marquis no longer expect to learn what happened to their daughter.
We're not going to put any hope in this anymore. I don't want any more of that. I don't think my mind can take it.
Decades without answers will never stop a father from searching.
There is somebody that knows. Somebody knows it's alive right now what happened to her.
I talked with the Osage Sheriff's Office today. They say they are still investigating the connection that Dennis Rader may have to Cindy's disappearance, but couldn't provide specifics. Anyone with information is asked to call the Osage County Sheriff's Office. We do have that number at ksn.com.